my most complimented designer fragrances of 2023. You guys don't want to miss this. Let's go. What's going on YouTube? It's the Bowtie Fragrance Guy. It is the fashion and fragrance guy, and I cannot believe it, guys. We're coming to the end of 2023, man. What a year it has been. And of course, because it's the end of the year, I want to tell you guys about what designer and niche fragrances I've gotten the most compliments on this year. Now, when it comes to compliments with some of these fragrances, it could have been wearing it once or twice and getting one or two compliments. Not everything gets a compliment. Sometimes there's multiple compliments in a day. All these things are taken into consideration, but at the end of the day, for me personally, these are the 10 designer fragrances that got the most compliments. So if you want to see what's on the list, which some of these may surprise you, especially my number one, you might want to stick around. So if you want to see what's on the list, you know the routine. Keep it locked right here. Let's get it.
The Bowtie Fragrance Guy.
All right, guys, we are back. Thank you so much for keeping it locked in. Let's jump right into this video. I will tell you guys up front, excuse my voice, is I'm not 100% back. I've said it on a few videos, so I won't keep repeating it, but I did battle the flu last week, so my voice is not 100%, so work with you. The first fragrance on my most complimented designer fragrances of 2023 was a fragrance that nobody else talked about other than me, to my knowledge. And this fragrance comes from the brand of MCM, and this is MCM Onyx. I talked about it in my top designer releases of 2023, and honestly, this fragrance, to sum it up, smells a lot like Dior Sauvage. Again, when you are really, breaking down for what it smells like, it kind of puts you in the mindset of Sauvage. So I'm not surprised that the few times I wore this, I got compliments on it. It's that kind of scent profile. All right, but lavender, I think there's basil, ginger in here as well, a little bit of tonka bean. So listen, this is one of those scent profiles that works. If you smell it, you won't be surprised either. Again, if you smell Dior Sauvage, you pretty much smell this. It's not an exact one-to-one, but it's close enough. But it did get compliments for whatever that's worth. At the end of the day, this one worked in that department, at least it did for me, from the brand of MCM. This is called Onyx. All right, guys, the next fragrance that made my list of most complimented designer fragrances is a fragrance to me that is highly slept on. From the brand of Dolce Gabbana, this is Dolce Gabbana K EDP Parfum. All right, guys, I wore this quite a few times. For me, that's a nice little dent. Again, I know your mileage may vary when you say or you talk about a dent. For me, especially since I got this year, I put a nice little dent in that. I wore it several times. This fragrance is really, really nice. It's pleasant. Got it at a nice price. And again, when you talk about compliments, it's one of those that got a few compliments for me this year. To me, this is a fig-based fragrance. Fig, lavender, geranium. Some of the main notes to my nose, but I love fragrances that have that fig in it. It has that kind of creamy, almost exotic nuance that it adds to fragrances. And this one, to me, really works. Fig and lavender. Great combination here. Highly recommend you check this one out from the brand of Dolce & Gabbana. This is Dolce & Gabbana K EDP Parfum. All right, guys, the next fragrance on the list, this is a brand new release, 2023 release. And when you talk about compliments, this fragrance did deliver the few chances that I did have to actually wear it. From the brand of Jean-Paul Gaultier, this is Jean-Paul Gaultier L'Homme Elixir. L'Homme Elixir. All right, guys, this fragrance actually made my list of top designer fragrances released this year for good reason. I really enjoy it. It has some elements of the original Jean-Paul Gaultier, but they added some really sweet, really kind of compelling and alluring notes to this, especially that honey accord that they added. When you add that with the mint lavender thing that you have from the original, seriously, this is one that I highly recommend. I did get noticed Again, did get some compliments wearing this fragrance. I actually gave my son a compliment when he was wearing it. That's how good this is to me. So check this one out, guys. It did get a few for me this year. If you're talking about compliments, I really enjoyed this one. This is Gaultier Le Male Elixir. All right, guys, what do you get when you combine Acqu Di Gio Profumo and Acqua Di Gio Profondo? You get Acqu Di Gio Parfum. And that's exactly what this smells like, man. I don't really have to go through the nuances and breakdown of notes and things of that nature, but you kind of have that incensey, patchouli thing that they did with Profumo. And then you kind of have these kind of fused green elements that they took from Profondo and again, kind of put it into one bottle. Not at all surprised that this fragrance got a lot of compliments. That's kind of sort of, man, like most of the fragrances that Acqua Di Gio put out, you know, from this one to the EDP, of course, to the original, the Absolute, the one that kind of has the brown cap on. All those fragrances to me have been pretty good when you talk about getting compliments. It's a very pleasant scent profile. This smells phenomenal to me. So anyway, check it out on one of my most complimented designer fragrances of 2023. It's from the brand of Giorgio Armani. This is Acqu Di Gio Profondo. All right, guys, I have worn this fragrance a few times, and it did get me a compliment twice when I wore it. It's a pleasant scent profile, but I'm not really a huge fan of the fragrance, but it got some positive attention. From the brand of YSL, this is Mysf. And I have to be careful. I always want to call this YSL Y Myself because it belongs in the Y line, I'm telling you. They didn't want to make another flanker, so they just changed the name and called it Mysf. But anyway, it smells good. It's a kind of basic, brogue smelling kind of fragrance. It's orange blossom and kind of a musky dry down. We smelled it before, but it does smell good. I honestly must admit that orange blossom in here is really what this fragrance is all about. And I love orange blossom. All right, kind of sweet, a little bit creamy. If you haven't smelled it, get your nose on it. It's pleasant. You know, it doesn't last long, about 3 or 4 hours, but it does smell good. So check it out. It made my most complimented designer fragrances this year from the brand of YSL. This is Mysf. All right, guys, now there were a few fragrances that I kind of pulled out of the vault this year. Fragrances that were not recent releases that I wore several times. This is one of those that reminded me of how good it was when I pulled it out of the vault this year. From the brand of Chanel, this is Allure Homme Sport Eau Extreme. Guys, this fragrance has always worked for me when you talk about compliments. And it was no different when I pulled it out this year. It just has, for me, one of those kind of scent profiles. Nice, citrusy, mandarin orange opening. There's some tonka bean in this. There's some mint in this. There is tonka bean when it dries down, so it starts to get sweet, creamy with the sandalwood. This one works for me. It worked for me, and like I said, personally, really nice sillage on this one. Is one that a lot of times when I'm wearing it, people walk by and they want to come back because it's sillage. You know, it catches the wind really well. So anyway, wore this a few times and it's still working today just like it did yesterday. From the brand of Chanel, this is Allure Homme Sport Eau Extreme. All right, guys, this next fragrance is a fragrance that I've talked a lot about. From the Cartier brand, the Riviera's collection, this is Luxuriance. This is Luxuriance in this one. I have like 2 or 3 bottles of this one, and this one always works as well. So pleasant, man. This fragrance to me really smells heavenly. It's kind of floral, but it has this nice pistachio accord in it with a nice creamy fig note in it as well. Seriously, this is one you guys have to smell. Whenever I wear this, about 80% of the time that I've worn it, this gets a compliment. Sincerely. So check it out from the brand of Cartier, from the Luxuriance from the Riviera's collection. This is called Luxuriance. All right, guys, this next fragrance on my most complimented designer fragrances of 2023 is another one that I pulled out of the vault. Just like Chanel Allure Homme Sport Eau Extreme. This is one that I've loved from the beginning, and it did the same thing this year. I pulled it out a few times, and it is still top tier when you talk about compliments. From the brand of YSL, this is L'Homme Le Parfum. L'Homme Le Parfum. Nice dent in this bottle as well. If you can't see it, it's down about right here. But released in 2020. Just smells good, guys. I mean, I don't know what else to say about it, but geranium, cardamom, some of the main notes in this one to my nose, but it has some elements to me of the original L'Homme fragrance, but it kind of has this ozonic blue feel to it. It works. This is one of those fragrances, well, scent profiles, I would say, that most people just find to be very pleasant when you wear it. Very pleasant, very much for me has been compliment inducing. So make sure you get your nose on it, man. It worked for me this year as well, just like it did in 2021 and 2022. From the brand of YSL, this is L'Homme Le Parfum. All right, guys, and the next fragrance that made my most complimented designer fragrances of 2023. Not surprised by this one as well. From the brand of Christian Dior, this is Sauvage Elixir. Sauvage Elixir, a more spicy, more mature kind of interpretation of the original Dior Sauvage. The main notes to my nose, two of my favorite spices in the world, cinnamon, nutmeg. That's really what this fragrance is all about, and it is very, very, very easy to wear and very kind of crowd pleasing in my humble opinion. All right, a little bit more, like I said, masculine and mature than the originals, but just like the originals work in regards to compliments, this one seems to work on my skin as well. From the brand of Christian Dior, this is Sauvage Elixir. All right, guys, and coming in the number one spot, the other ones were not really in order, but this is the most complimented. So I wanted to save it for last. It may surprise you, but man, this stuff really worked in regards to compliments, man. From the brand of Polo Ralph Lauren, this is Polo Red Parfum. Polo Red Parfum, man. This fragrance is really about that blood orange note. There's some absinthe in here as well. Oh, man, this is good. All I can say, guys, is this got compliments. You know, I gave my son a smaller bottle of this. He ran through it. And I've worn this quite a few times this year. In the time that I've worn it, it's been on point. It's been on point. I recall very specific instances where it's got compliments. But guys, check it out. I was really pleased with this fragrance when I smelled it. Didn't have really big expectations, of course, but when I put my nose on it, very pleased. Definitely one that's worth it. It made some other lists for me this year. One of my top designer fragrance pickups. Honestly, this is really, really good. I really like this particular fragrance. So anyway, check it out. My most complimented designer fragrance of 2023. Believe it or not, Polo Red Parfum. But that is it, guys. That is my time. Those are my most complimented designer fragrances from 2023. We will get the most complimented niche fragrances here in the next day or so. What are some of your most complimented fragrances of 2023? I would love to hear from you guys down in the comments section. And as always, I sincerely appreciate your time and your attention to these videos. I know you don't have to watch, but you do. And I sincerely appreciate that. Now, don't forget to take a few moments to like, comment, and subscribe. And make sure you are sharing these videos out to some other folks that you think could use the information or may just find it entertaining. Because I'm your guy, Darren. I'm the Bowtie Fragrance Guy. I love to look good, and of course, I love to smell amazing. So until next time, keep looking good, keep smelling even better. I'll catch you on the flip side.